need is already inside of you. The world would not be what it is without you. When we begin to create change within us, we begin to create change in the world around us. Your journey to becoming your best self as the whole person starts right now.
Hi, and welcome to the Rise Up to You podcast. I am your host, Leanne DeSanto, and I am honored to be with you today. And I'm excited to be streaming to you live on our Rise Up for You Facebook page. And as always, you can find our podcast on all the major platforms. So don't forget to subscribe and to like our Facebook page so you know when we're going live and you can join in on the conversation. And as always, this podcast is here to serve you and stand alongside your journey to becoming your best self. So if you haven't grabbed your free Becoming Your Best Self Starter Kit yet, you can do that in a couple ways. You can go to our website, riseupforyou.com, and grab it there. Or you can text RISE PODCAST. That's all one word, RISE PODCAST, to 797979, and you'll be supported both personally and professionally. Now, today's guest is Lisa Reid. Now, Lisa is the founder of Get Speaking Gigs Now, and she mentors business professionals and entrepreneurs who want to make an impact and ultimately attract their ideal clients through speaking. As a speaker herself, she has successfully booked and delivered over 500 speaking engagements. And in her book, Get Speaking Gigs Now, she shares her 7-step system to getting booked, staying booked, and attracting your ideal clients through speaking. Please welcome Lisa to the podcast.
Hi. Thunderous applause.
Yeah, thunderous applause. Welcome, welcome. We're so excited to have you here today, Lisa.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's dive in. Share a little bit about yourself.
Well, like you had mentioned, I've been out there speaking quite a bit, but I will tell you, Leanne, I don't know if you know this about me, but I started speaking professionally when I was 40 years old. And I share that because a lot of times people will say to me, oh, it's too late, or I'm not ready yet. And we have all these judgments inside of us, right? To say like, when is it okay to do something and when is it not okay? And all these kind of things that are really not true. So I share that because I actually had my very first speaking engagement when I was 13 or 12, something like that. I was in middle school and I spoke to the entire class, all the whole school about seatbelt safety, which is, not the most exciting topic in the world that, 12 and 13-year-olds want to hear about. Mm-hmm. But I had a lot of fun, and I actually had a speaking coach. My dad helped me and my fellow student put our talk together, and we made something what I would say is kind of a boring topic, really funny. And I just kind of got the bug, and it didn't scare me at the time, but sure, I was nervous, mm-hmm. But I really enjoyed it. And then I went on to college and majored in speech communication, got my degree, got my master's degree in speech communication, became a teacher at Cal State Fullerton, taught interpersonal communication. So you could see there's these dominoes, right?
Yeah.
I'm 22, I guess, 20. How old are you 24 when I graduated with my master's degree. Mm-hmm. And then it went dormant. I would always kind of weave in training no matter what job I was in or what business I had, but I was never officially like a speaker until I was 40 years old. So I just, it's sometimes people think, oh, you're so good at, you've been doing this forever. You have no fears. And it's like, no, of course. I totally understand that we can put our dreams in the back seat sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And especially when it comes to speaking, right? Don't they say like more people fear public speaking than deaf? It's like this.
They do. There's lots of reasons. And I don't, I'm not an arm twister. You know what I mean? Like I'm not hey, even though you're terrified, let's do this. Usually people come to me because they've had a little quiet voice inside of them saying, you should be up there. Like I could do that. I could be the one up at that podium or, virtual or otherwise. And yet they've kind of dampened that voice for a long time, but it's always been there. Mm-hmm. And so you might be scared, but not like a major phobia. There's something in you that goes, I should be doing this. I could be doing this.
Nice. And obviously the whole speaking world has changed over the past 40 years, right? From the big stages behind the podium to
Yes.
the professionalism to, to know people like more casual and conversational and being able to interact with the speaker on stage to now virtual stages. So it's like completely done the 360. So share a little bit about, about that and how maybe that's affected your coaching and how you work with your clients.
I think that's definitely helped. I mean, certainly I'm almost in my 50s now. And so I definitely remember that time where a professional speaker was this, to me, unattainable thing. Like, how would you even do that, right? Before YouTube, before Facebook, before the internet.
Right, exactly. Get down the big fancy stage and get money and
and a lot of the people I coach with are in that, sometimes in their 30s, 40s, 50s. So they remember that time as well. But now more than ever before, especially and even during this sheltering in place, concept that we're all a part of right now, there's more opportunities than ever. Certainly, like what we're doing, we're on StreamYard right now, we're on Facebook Live right now. So that's one way. But there's meetings all around the world right now that are meeting virtually. So what better time for them to invite you in as a speaker than now? You don't have to get on a plane, no train, no automobiles, and you can be right there.
Right. I mean, that's awesome, because that is the I thinking of the word I'm trying to say, but like the golden nugget, right? Like the opportunity in this world we're living in now, because it can feel to me, as a person that loves live events, loves to be in a room with people and either be on stage or watch the person on stage, be in that energy. When everything shifts, I was like, oh, bummer. But now it's like you can talk to anybody anywhere, and it's amazing. So
it's really, and I encourage all the listeners to consider that benefit, because yes, I miss people too. And I'm also able to talk to a lot more people and have a broader reach, which means I can help more people. They can help more people. All the ripple effect is really powerful now that I've started networking with people across the country that I never would have met before, in different countries that I never would have met before, just because we wouldn't have traveled in the same circle. But now there's no borders. It's kind of cool. I really like it. I mean, I don't like the suffering, the other parts of it, but I'm trying to
the other parts of it. But yeah,
there's times that are good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like anything, finding the opportunity, the excitement in something new, drawing people in a different way. Like you said, you don't have to spend all that extra money to travel. So someone who maybe couldn't go to a live event now can do it virtually. And so, so there's, again, so much there. But what is it? Has it shifted how you coach your speakers?
Yeah, in a lot of ways, no. And then in some ways, yes. Like most of the things that I teach people or that I coach people, speakers through, has stayed the same. You still need to have a talk ready to rock. You still need to figure out where you're going to speak. You still need to, learn how to ask for a speaking engagement via email or phone or Zoom call.
Right.
You still need to engage with the audience and so forth, and have a monetizable strategy. What has changed is some things have gotten easier. Like some of the things that I would have to work on with people would be like, make sure you are ready to go if the projector breaks and you don't have the right cord. And so it could be literally like you could have the best presentation in the whole wide world, but if the projector breaks, the electricity goes out, you don't have the right cord, and you were not prepared for that, it's not going to go well.
Yeah, I have seen speakers that, that's why you can't rely on that in
Exactly.
A live situation, right? Relying on all this technology that can go down. I've seen speakers freak out, like,
Yes.
know it inside and out, even without the slides.
Exactly. So that's part of it, which now, it's not really an issue. I mean, certainly things could get canceled because of electricity if you can't get on your laptop.
Internet.
Probably the biggest things I've changed is showing how many opportunities there are now, like literally shooting fish in a barrel here.
Mm-hmm.
And how to engage on a virtual setting. Like how do you maybe toggle between sharing your screen and not sharing your screen? How do you decide when you are going to share a PowerPoint, when you're not going to use a PowerPoint? How do you encourage sharing through the chat and engagement, so people aren't just glazed over checking their emails, but they look like they're looking at your talk. How do you, and this happens, how do you get people to register for something when they're not there in front of you in person, where you have that magnetic, exchange of energy?
They run to the back of the room, right?
Exactly. And how do you get people to, purchase something when you're not there? There was another one I was thinking of. Oh, like how to create safety. A lot of times I've heard people say, well, and I agree, certainly, sometimes when I speak, there's, some deep things are happening and shares are happening and maybe some emotions are coming up, and how do you create safety in a Zoom room? And let me tell you, it's totally possible. Even if there's 100 people in the room, it's still possible. I've experienced that. And so that might be part of what I coach on, depending on the topic. Some topics don't need as high of sense of safety as others.
Sure. Yeah.
So those are some things that have changed.
I love that. So let's talk about, if someone's listening who is, just started speaking, or they want to reach out to different organizations, different opportunities to speak, on a virtual platform. What do you recommend is that first step? Like, how do they send the email, or, what's a few tips around that?
Well before the email, there's actually, to me, like lots of steps before the email. And this is where,
for an opportunity. Okay.
This is where I think a lot of people get a little stuck. And it's interesting, Leanne, it's not on my website anywhere, and I should probably change that. But self-doubt is probably a speaker's number one enemy, right? Of like, what should I say? Are they going to like it? Is this offer good? Should I offer this much or that much? Or, there's all these questions. Which way should I go? So I usually start with what I call get your talk ready to rock, which is like, I have a boot camp around that. I have one-on-one sessions around that. That's part of my academy that I teach. Because if you don't have what I call product on the shelf, like you don't have your talk dialed in to where there's a snazzy title, you've got a great description, you've got your learning points, and it's something that if someone said, hey, I didn't know you were a speaker, could you send me your information? You need to have that ready to go. Boom, send it over. If you don't have that, and it also doesn't make sense, like it's not monetizable, then you're kind of dead in the water before you even start, right? Because if you say, I'm a speaker, what's the first thing someone's going to ask? What do you speak on?
Right. Yeah. What do you talk about? What do you talk
about? That's so cool. You're a speaker. Great. What do you speak on? And if you don't have that answer, you haven't even, it's like the race is over before you even started. Right. So I say that because, and maybe I'm harping a little bit, because so many people that I know, they want to say they're a speaker, but they're held back because they don't have that piece ready. Right. Or they have a talk, then they've tried it and it felt really good. People said it was so great, but then they didn't make any money. And they're like, well, it felt good at the time, but then I'm driving home and realizing that, I didn't make that impact that I wanted to.
Right. No one bought, or wasn't sure if I had the engagement I wanted, or
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But like anything, it takes practice, right? Anything, it's like, you can't jump out, maybe some people jump out of the gate with their first thing is amazing, but I mean, I think it's tweaking and adjusting and, and changing up that bio every, 30, 60, 90 days, whatever. Cause sometimes in the past, when I was doing some speaking, can you send me your bio? I'll be like, ooh, I haven't upgraded that in a long time, like you said, having all that in place. So if someone's like, yes, you're like, great, here's my media kit, here's my speaker page, or here's my, whatever you have to give them, sizzle reel, or, wherever you're at with your collateral, like what you can send to them, again, to be professional, to show that you are ready to show up. And if they, another speaker cancels, you're ready to step in, like that type of thing, right?
That's happened to me several times. And I say, this is my official opinion. It's like, I could speak in a box with a fox, in a boat with a goat, like, let's do this thing. I will make it happen. And I want all my speakers to be prepared to that too. Just like I'll be there, I'll show up, I'm going to deliver. Don't worry, I got you. And you're serving the audience. And when you have that inner confidence, you're going to get more speaking gigs because you're going to be attracting that, and people are going to go, oh wow, that person really has it together. And they are so part of it is that, and it's not fake it till you make it, but it's kind of fake it till, like, get it ready so that when they ask, or when you ask for that engagement, you are prepared. It's kind of like going to the prom. Like if you wanted to, like maybe we've all had an experience where we went to a formal dance. Like you're going to go get your shoes, you're going to get your dress, you're going to get your plan to get your hair done if you're, a female, usually. And same as the speaking, like you just need to plan for it.
Right. Have everything prepared and be ready. And I think when you talked about self-doubt, that's interesting too, because, I think sometimes we all have a little bit of that, right?
Of course. I do too.
Totally. Even no matter how many speaking, they say that, some of the professionals of professionals, still get nervous or throw up backstage, or, you hear this, you're like, really? Wow, they're so good.
But yeah, sure. And anytime you're doing something new that you've never done before, there is going to be that need for, okay, give myself some prep time. I'm leading a webinar on in a couple of days, and it's on a new topic. I know the topic, but I still need to get in there, make sure I've reviewed enough, practiced enough to where I feel confident that I can deliver for the audience, because I really want to make sure I show up for them.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. What would you say is like the number? I know you talk about, kind of some number ones, like the number one secret to getting the speaking gig.
Yeah. Well, I'd say my number one secret, okay, first of all, Leanne, I'm a big fan of having fun while you're, doing your thing, right? Like having fun while you are building your business. Why not? Like it does not need to be miserable. And I have yet to meet, I think of one person I've met who actually enjoys cold calling, but most speakers don't. That's not their favorite. They don't come to me going, I would love to learn how to make more cold calls. Never had that request. And so the number one way that I use, and that I teach my speakers how to do this, is network with other speakers, because that can be your number one referral resource. In fact, 30% of that 500 talks that I've done is due to one other referral source, just one. And so I think sometimes people think I got to be here and here and here and here and do all these things and be crazy busy. And honestly, when you nurture the right relationships, and you and I were talking backstage earlier, when you put your energy towards those things that are really going to make the needle move, you would be surprised at the amount of business you can give and receive, right? So as much as I've received, I've given. And when you find that relationship, and that's why I have the OC Speakers Network, because it's like, I want people to find their speaker soulmate in that room. I don't know who your speaker soulmate is, but find one, because it's amazing. It's a free way to build your business as a speaker exponentially. And when I say build your business as a speaker, it's like, it means build your business using speaking, right? Like it's fun for certain people. Like I know you like to speak too. It's a fun way to build your business. So you could be on social media, you could run ads, you could do all these things, but speaking is a really cool way to go from one to many.
Right. And I think sometimes people get tied up, I'm a speaker. Okay, so what? It's like, really, you help people XYZ so they can live their best life or whatever. And Absolutely. You do that by speaking or by, group coaching or whatever the case may be. So sometimes people get tied up with that. Well, I'm a speaker. It's like, okay, so what does that mean?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, like how do you really help people, that type of thing. So, I love that too. I love the networking with other speakers, because I think sometimes people can be in that like scarcity mindset, right? Like I don't want to give up anything away or share too much or feel like, there's competition, but really it's like cooperation and building those relationships, like you said.
Absolutely. It's collaboration. And I don't mean just go willy-nilly and find anybody. It's really finding that right fit for you, your style. You want to find someone who speaks to the same audience as you, but is not in competition with you. Somebody who has a similar work ethic, maybe the certain amount of frequency, like the person that I refer back and forth, we speak about the same amount of time a month or a year. And so we're both out there finding new things. I'm not just sitting there waiting for her phone call. Like I'm developing new business as she's developing new business, and then we come together and merge our resources. That's otherwise it'll be really one-sided, so you want to make sure it's a collaborative effort and reciprocation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the thing is too, that I think people need to realize that anytime you speak, it's a speaking gig. Like whether it's one-on-one, or whether it's in a big Zoom, when you speak, it's a speaking gig, and you got to show up the way you want to show up, and sometimes you hear those stories how they're one way on stage and then they get off stage and they're like, whoa, who's that person, right? And
like if you're sitting, I know I've been on a lot of Zoom calls in the last year. You probably have as well. And, some people are like walking around their house and, their slippers and on their bed. And I'm like, well, what? I mean, you do you, but I think if you're there and networking as a business professional, then you want to maybe take yourself off video, or maybe don't attend if you just can't be ready to show up. It's kind of like you wouldn't go to a chamber meeting or a networking meeting in your pajamas,
Exactly. Although it might be fun, but yeah.
You could be in your pajama bottoms, but as long as you're showing
just put some pants on, that'd be good.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just meaning like what you're showing. Obviously you're still in a professional setting. And I was gonna mention something. You were talking earlier about that giving yourself grace and learning something new earlier. I wanted to comment because I think you're so spot on with that. A lot of times as adults, we just are really tough on ourselves. Like, it's like, oh, I tried it, didn't work. You're like, wow. The first time you tied your shoes, did you try it and didn't work? Like you just
did you give up? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we want to be able to play like Beethoven's Fifth Symphony with no lessons. It's like you gotta give yourself some time. So yeah, I always say, let's come up with a plan where we can I call it increase your odds of success and reduce your risk of failure, right? Mm-hmm. So how do we play that? And so we're going to go in with the best strategic plan as possible so that it's in alignment with, how you generate, business and serve the audience and all those things. And then you got to try it. You got to see okay, that joke that I thought was going to be really funny, nobody laughed at, did not. So, okay, not going to put that in anymore.
We're going to keep going. Yeah. I like to call it research, right? It's really not failure. It's just research. It's like,
yes.
What worked? What didn't work? Okay, not going to do that again, or let me tweak that. But I think it's so true. I think it's about progress, not perfection. And, because what is perfection anyway? It's the minute you think you're there, it's going to change. So it's learning, getting better. You're going to flub up words sometimes. You're going to, it's like being able to laugh at yourself. But that critical voice and the judgment we have for ourselves can be so strong,
It really can. And I have to say, after, I've been there too. I mean, I've boohooed, and I've thought about giving up. This is not going to over the, when you do hundreds of them. But one thing that's nice about doing hundreds of them, I'm like, okay, next, I can't, I'm not going to sit here crying, let's go, let's do this thing. Other people need to hear your message. There's so many things that are outside of your control. There's things that are in your control. So that's what we want to focus on, what's in your hands and how you deliver, how you show up, what your offer is, all those things. And then sometimes it just, maybe the people weren't in the room who needed to be there. Maybe there's something else going on. I did a talk one time on, it was a September 11th, happened to be the date. It was a chamber event. And wow, the whole thing got completely just focused on that, on the day of remembrance. And it really just took away from what I was there to do. Nice. And it's okay. You know what? That's nobody's fault. It's just sometimes the way the calendar lands. So even deciding what day you're going to speak,
and sometimes too, sometimes as a speaker, being able to shimmy a bit, right? And be like, okay, this is a really powerful day. And this is why you can't believe there's any tomorrows. This is why you need to take action now, right? So it's like being able to take that and as a speaker, and then again, being more seasoned and being able to like, okay, this PowerPoint's going out the window. I need to do something else.
Exactly.
Because that's what's going to serve the audience the most, right? That's what's going to serve the audience in the moment. So yeah, being able to again, that takes probably a little practice too, in more experience, but absolutely there's other opportunities in that.
Yes, 100%. You got it. You got it.
Absolutely. Well, awesome. Well, let me ask you some of the power questions that we love to ask our guests. So the first one is, what is one book that's had a massive impact on you?
You know what? Recently, a couple years ago, I think it has been now, I read Profit First by Mike Michaelowicz. Have you ever heard of that?
I have heard of it. I haven't read it though.
Oh my gosh. Now that's not usually like, it's not like, it is literally about like the money in your business and how you can easily use his system. It is an easy peasy system that I never would, it's a game changer for any entrepreneur, especially if you hate bookkeeping and hate accounting and hate all that stuff. Absolutely read it or listen to it. I listen to his voice. He's great. It's really fun to listen to. And I implemented his system and it is a life-changing system.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. How about a quote that you live by?
Well, I usually say you don't ask, you don't get. And we just saw the Super Bowl a couple days ago, and they said, no risk it, no biscuit. And I thought that was kind of a similar. I thought that was really cute.
I like it.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to, are you going to get something if you don't ask for it?
Exactly. That's so perfect right now, especially right now, right? That's so perfect. How about if you could leave the world with one final message, your golden nugget, what would it be?
Absolutely. If you have had that inner voice tell you that you should be doing something, and usually for me, it's about speaking, listen to it. I think your soul talking to you. I think that voice is part of the purpose of why you're here. And if you, I don't know, we only have so many days left on this earth. Listen to that voice. And if today was the sign you needed, this is it. Yeah,
love that. Well, before I ask my last question, how can we find and support you?
Oh, if you would like to learn how to get more speaking gigs, you can get 5 top tips to get more speaking gigs at getspeakinggigsnow.com. That's gigs with the S, because of course you want more than one, right?
Absolutely.
Also on there, you can, if you'd like to schedule a strategy session with me, there's a link on that website where you can grab that as well.
Okay, awesome, Lisa. Thank you so much for that. And our last question, as you know, we are Rise Up for You. So when you hear that phrase, what does it mean to you?
Again, I think that means like showing up for yourself so that you can show up for other people. If you're not living your real life, I don't want to sound cliche, but living your life's purpose, then, I mean, are you giving back to the world what you could absolutely give back? And that's what I always use as my guiding post. Like, what is it that, how can I serve this world? What am I here to do? And part of it is I need to show up for people so that they can show up for people. So that's that rising up within yourself so that you could show up for other people.
I love that. Beautiful, Lisa. Thank you so much for your wisdom and expertise today. I know it really served our audience, and I so appreciate you being on the podcast.
Thank you. It was great.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. Lisa Reid, isn't she amazing? Number 1 secret, network with other speakers. Isn't that great? Network with other speakers. Like sometimes we just don't even think about doing that. And what I love the most that she said is have fun while building your business, right? You need to have some fun too. And we know it's serious and there's a lot going on, but we need to build in a little bit of fun there too. So that was awesome advice. And remember to grab your free Becoming Your Best Self Startup Kit, either on our website, riseupforyou.com, or on or you can text Rise Podcast, all one word, Rise Podcast to 797979. And as always, we'd love to support you both personally and professionally. Bye for now.